From Inside the Yoga Sutras by Reverend Jagannath Carrera, a reading read by Reverend Amba Wallace. This is Sutra 2.54, so Chapter 2, verse 54, and it says, "When the senses withdraw themselves from the objects and imitate, as it were, the nature of the mind stuff, this is Pratyahara. The senses do not function independently of the mind. Therefore, when the attention is pulled inward, they disconnect from their objects and also go within. The senses are portals through which input reaches the mind stuff. But perception occurs only when the mind is joined to the senses. Without the union of mind and senses, no perception can take place. For example, we do not notice sounds outside our living room when the mind is absorbed in a thrilling novel. The sound vibrations still reach the ears, but since the mind is engaged elsewhere, they make no conscious impression on the individual awareness. The mind has learned to ignore most sense input when performing tasks. It is how we are able to be productive and get work done with relative efficiency. Yet the mind resists blocking out all sense input, an ability needed to achieve deeper states of meditation. This is why Pratyahara is practiced. Pratyahara brings the senses back to their source, the essential nature of the mind. This pure sattvic aspect of the mind is characterized by tranquility, clarity, illumination, intelligence, and the ability to discriminate. Pratyahara neutralizes the mind's predominant occupation with sensory input. What remains after success in Pratyahara are subconscious impressions, called samskaras, arising as memories that don't require input from the outside world. Pratyahara eliminates an entire category of mental impressions, sensory awareness, allowing the mind to examine more subtle aspects of mental content and activity. This leaves one more aspect of Pratyahara to consider. How do we achieve it? Since we already know that senses follow the lead of the mind, the question becomes, when disconnecting the mind from sense objects, where should the attention be redirected? Consider the following quotations from the Bhagavad Gita, from Chapter 2, Sloka 61. "But the yogi learns to control the senses by meditating on me," Lord Krishna symbolizing the self, as the highest goal. As the senses come under control, the yogi's wisdom becomes steady. And then Chapter 6, Sloka 12. "Then sit and calm the mind and senses by concentrating on one thing. Thus you practice yoga, meditation, for self-purification." In both instances, control of the senses is attained not by pulling the mind away from the sense object, but by redirecting attention toward something elevating. See Sutras 1, verse 34 through 39, which suggest various objects for meditation. One of the benefits of redirection is that it cultivates non-attachment by replacing transitory sense satisfactions with the deeper, more satisfying contentment of the sattvic mind. The practice of Pratyahara is an education in the proper use of the senses. It requires and cultivates discipline, discrimination, memory, and courage. Discipline to shift attention from sense objects. Discrimination to assess the appropriate use of the senses and to understand the motives behind the compulsion to remain engaged in objects that catch the senses' attention. Memory to examine the benefits and liabilities resulting from the use, abuse, and overuse of the senses. And courage to temporarily give up indulging a particular sense in order to serve the purpose of self-realization. Finally, let's put Pratyahara in the context of the 8 limbs as part of a process of progressive interiorization. Yama and Niyama help maintain equity of mind in interactions. Asana helps the mind become impervious to the effects of dualities. Pranayama removes the veil that covers the light of consciousness, preparing it for concentration, dharana. It makes the mind energetic and alert, while further stilling the activities of the vrittis. Pratyahara brings attention within by withdrawing attention from ambient sounds, odors, or other sensory stimuli. Pratyahara not only prepares the mind for meditation, but also enhances the enjoyment of life through the senses. Gone are regrets of overindulgence or misuse. Pratyahara brings the freedom of mastery. And then from inside Patanjali's word, just a couple of comments from Reverend Jagannath Carrera, same sutra, 2.54. He says, Pratyahara can be considered as the beginning of the journey of self-mastery. Many seekers, for this reason, find that Pratyahara is often the first step that leads from belief, conditional faith, to faith, certain knowledge, and to self-transformation. And he ends that sutra by saying, sense management was chosen to translate Pratyahara since it suggests the broader scope of the practice. It is not just reining in unruly senses, but gaining the ability to use them wisely. May the entire universe be filled with peace and joy, love and light. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Peace, Peace, Peace.